Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, raccoons will eat your grass and tear up your lawn.
My grass, you can see where the gophers are. It starts to
Yeah.
sink because of all the holes.
Yeah, it does suck right there.
I'm good. Yeah.
We set?
Good, all right. We'll start off, we'll welcome Mr. Joe Richards to the board. Thank you for stepping in and stepping up, I guess.
Let's see.
Help us fill in the position. All right, well, call to order at 4:37. And we'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Nick? Andres?
Here.
Zach?
Here.
Tom?
Here.
Joe?
All the comments?
Nobody registered.
Okay, all right, here's your fun time address. Election of officers. How do you guys want to do this?
Just hand vote.
Oh, I mean, correct. So there's no more.
Make a motion. Vote.
So it's a motion for president, a motion for vice president, a motion for secretary.
You could do it all under one motion if you'd like.
Well, I'd like to start by making a motion to make Zach Shapiro president of the board.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll
Are there
second.
any other nominations?
Or any other
But
nominations?
I thought we would probably go through and just name everybody for the different vice president, treasurer, the
Right.
committees,
One at a time, you mean?
and then we get the second. Instead of doing it, she said we could do it all at once.
I said you could nominate so-and-so for president, so-and-so for vice. You could make a round full nomination if you wanted to do it that way as well.
That's, I don't want to go through and name everybody. I mean, if somebody else has a choice, as far as board members.
I'd recommend you do it one at a time. I think it's just cleaner and easier. That would be my suggestion, if that's okay, one officer at a time.
Very good. Second?
Okay.
Second
For a
first?
second, yep.
Do you accept the nomination? Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes,
Joe?
Yes.
Vice president?
I'll make a motion for Nick to be vice president.
Try to get out of there.
It's lonely up top, man.
You know.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Going back to where you're going.
Do you accept the nomination?
Sure. Like the one or the other. Position is a position.
Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes,
Joe?
Okay. Secretary?
and nominate,
We in the past have always done a secretary/treasurer.
Okay.
So if you want to split it, I just need to know that.
I think I'll get that. Secretary slash treasurer.
I'll make a motion for Joe.
Yeah, I don't like the treasury thing. I got so much numbers now.
All right,
I've got
Do you,
But
do
you
you
will
accept
help.
that nomination?
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
Do you accept that nomination?
Okay.
oh, good.
Well, you don't have to.
Yeah, well, it's just I got so many numbers right here that, treasurer part.
Yeah, you don't have to do reports, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a third party who does all the reviews and
Okay. I
stuff.
got budgets in the county and everything, just driving nuts
Yeah.
and numbers lately, so I'll take it.
Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes,
Joe?
Yes.
I think there was a second. You didn't have a
Oh, I'm
second.
so sorry, we didn't.
I'll second.
Thank you, Zach, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, Zach, you're the new chairperson? Nick, you're the vice chair? And Joe, you're the secretary/treasurer.
so,
You got lucky.
question, Barbara, so you are technically the parliamentarian too, in order to keep things on track?
Okay?
I mean, that's from my observation. As
I am not a member of the board.
No, the parliamentarian is just to help keep things, because I've listened before and you've helped correct and make sure where they are in the motion. So it's just an assumption that I'm asking. I mean, we can appoint, the secretary to be the parliamentarian, but it's also, as I read through the bylaws, it's okay for the board to appoint, which you've been doing anyway, is my point.
Oh, okay.
So the parliamentarian's job is just to, if he gets off track, to, hey, you've lost track of where you are in the
So then I
procedure.
think we should nominate Gabe, because I forgot to get the second for this motion.
I see what you
Like that? So are you saying you want to officially go through
It's
the
not
process
I
of
don't,
appointing someone? or-
as I read through this, as I recall, I don't think it needs to, we can appoint, you've already been doing it. We can revisit it again, but I don't think it's necessary to make a
Yeah,
official.
I think it's basically what you're doing anyways.
So are you?
Sweet. So we move forward on election of officers, so we'll go ahead and review meeting minutes from June 28th.
Barbara, it's recorded, the recording for documenting the secretarial list.
They're recorded simply for the purpose of typing the minutes up and getting the
Okay.
minutes correct. And then once the minutes are approved by you guys, I don't think the
Okay, so
recording.
you would take care of processing the minutes? Is that what you're saying? So I don't really have to take the notes?
No, I
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking.
yes, no, I kind of just
Yeah. Okay. I don't care what they say about you, I like it.
It was great.
Just got done with the First National Bank,
Pardon?
the First National Bank and miscellaneous for that part.
Okay. I'll remind you when we get there. So were there any corrections, amendments, changes to the meeting minutes?
Well, we can talk about financials.
And we did. So we need a motion to accept the minutes as presented to the board.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. And vote. Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
You weren't here,
I
correct?
wasn't here.
So you'll abstain.
Yeah. I thought that I should have said it.
That's okay. So 4-1, motion is carried.
This is just legit me up. It's on the wrong side.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
So next item on the agenda, sir?
So we'll move on to the financial statement for June 2023.
For June, we have total cash on hand of $3,102,588. That's up about $221,000 from May. Our net income for June was $734,526. And our accounts receivable year-to-date is $2,650,922. Not much has changed with the concerns. Our medical supply shortage is still currently up and down. We have 9 items on the back order list. For year-to-year, medical supplies are down about $8,000 from this time last year, so that's good. Our fuel is down about $6,000 from this time last year, so we're doing good there. Vehicle repairs is down about $8,000 from this time last year, so we're good there. And vehicle maintenance is up about $4,000, which is to be expected, so We're looking good as far as financials go.
Yeah, a quick question, silly, anyways, it's probably silly questions, so I'll pick that up myself. The money we have in the First National Bank, what are they? Are they checking accounts, savings accounts,
Their checking account.
checking accounts?
We use the one account as a holding account.
Okay.
So any fees for service that we receive all get put into that account. And then when we are paying bills, doing payroll, we'll make a roll from that account to the main checking account. And those are documented and signed by 2 board members. And then the checks are also signed and reviewed by 2 board members.
The Bank of the West is a savings account then?
Bank of the West is a checking account, and there's also a CD there, over $500,000 in a CD. That account was established for the construction project, so all that money is separate and put away.
Okay, Trish, is it, any idea?
I don't
At this
remember.
point, I
The
don't
local
know.
banks are so bad,
Yeah.
we moved our, we're making 5 or 6% in other banks. So I don't know if that's something we want to look at. as a
And
board.
we had talked about that, especially since we don't have very good luck with Bank of the West anyway.
No.
So we talked about switching that.
Probably would recommend that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to make a change here shortly with
Yeah,
that
but
anyway.
whenever
For
it
the,
settles
when we
down.
get our, when we get our interim construction loan,
Mhm.
the monies that are sitting in that checking account are gonna
Offset.
roll into that interim loan as funds to be used for the project. So we were thinking maybe at that time it would be a good idea to put the CD in another bank and get another established
Okay, I
there.
don't know if there's any local banks here, Nick. I think the 5-Star Bank has a good rate, but I'm not sure. But it's okay, that's the answer to the question, thank you.
All right, we need a movement to accept the financial statement for June 2023.
I'll move it.
Second.
Was that you, Tom? I'm sorry, the AC kicked on at the same time. So we have a motion and a second. Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
So we'll move on to the bylaws review.
Go ahead, I think this is.
Okay.
Probably needs to be redone.
That's okay. So if I have the floor, I'm the one who asked for this. This is one of the first things I did is when I got my book is I started reading and felt pretty strongly that we needed to do some things that hadn't been done yet. So number one that I sent to Barbara was, the election of officers, which we just did. Okay. The second thing is the board of directors, and it's section 4. I was going to mark this. Give me a second to find this. I'm going to read this for you guys. It's under the bylaws, section 4. All powers, privileges, and duties vested in or imposed upon the district by law shall be exercised and performed by and through the board, whether set forth specifically or implied by these bylaws. The board may delegate to officers, employees, and agents of the district or any and all administrative powers. As I have spent as many years as I had and observed as many boards as I have, I have some pretty strong opinions about the direction that we're going as a board. When I look at the agenda doesn't have anything on it that really the board should be looking at. It really needs to. I think a board of directors needs to be up here looking down, giving you as much power as you need to run the district. But we should be focused on goals, ends, which are interchangeable. I prefer ends. The mission statement and the service plan. That's it. You know, the rest, I mean, it's nice to get the reports that you guys are doing, but there's things like the service plan, I think, and having helped get this district expanded back in 2005 to 2006 when it expanded 2008. I was there for all that. I feel responsible that I helped assist that. And I see the big picture from back then. And right now, I think our job is simply this as a board, is we just need to be focused on the bigger goals, and our job is to transport people. After that, full stop. So when we start talking about the service plan, which we need to do, I know you've engaged a law firm to do that, but I think that's discussion that we as a board need to have. And then we move on. And things like the health service district, of which I helped form, which I was on the board, nobody's bothered to ask me any questions. The health service district from the first meeting I was at was from a law firm where you had a conversation about changing the service plan, and they said, well, maybe we should form a health service district. I helped form a health service district. We have a health service district. I don't think the county commissioners are going to support forming a second health service district, and I tracked down the health service district. It's with Kim Lucero at the hospital. It's still active. If you really want to follow in that direction, that's fine. I've sat and talked to her about it briefly and said, hey, what's it going to take? It's there. And the thing that you guys had mentioned about wanting to do community paramedics or something like that, this is where my understanding of the health service district comes in. That's one of 100 tools. And what we did to form that health service district is we had community meetings with all the active players. So at this point, you know, I think it needs to be put on the agenda. I asked that it be put on the agenda. It's not on the agenda. But for another time, I think we need to have that discussion. So that's section 4, is that's what the board's job is.
Could we further discuss that before you move on? I know you may not be done. I just want to get comment from the board, and I also have a few things I want to say before we move on.
No, I want to keep going here.
Sure, but before you go to the next subject, I think we need discussion on that, if that's
Absolutely,
okay.
I think we should too, because
Yeah.
we're actually looking at people who are professional that are doing this. That's how I look at it. This, the attorneys that they hired, it's a professional company that's doing this. They're professionals. I wish the professionals to lead us in the direction we need to go. I mean, we're just a board.
Well, again, I brought it up. What I would like to do so people can be prepared is we put it on the agenda as an agenda item for the next meeting.
So could I please just, if you're done with that point, I don't want to interrupt you more than I already did. I have a few thoughts I'd like to share.
But that's why I'm just bringing it up.
Right.
Let's put it on the agenda.
Okay.
People can be prepared.
Could we talk about that, please? There are a number of points I think we need to discuss and were just mentioned that I want to respond to. Please.
Why not wait? I mean,
I just think it's worth the discussion.
Okay.
It is enough points in one that I also have some concerns with, that I think it's worth the discussion. I think it's worth to take time on it.
All right.
And could I, if I could please, Mr. Chairman, I just have a few points I want to mention. One is the service plan, because there were a lot of points made about the service plan. There's no sense, I don't think, in my humble opinion, that we need to talk about the old service plan, since pretty clearly and hopefully there's going to be a new service plan. Whatever health services district we are going to be, either reconstituting or constituting, that will of course have its own service plan.
I think for me, the question becomes what's the gap between us continuing to operate under this service plan and then operating under a newer, more comprehensive one, and going through both would benefit us just to know what kind of issues even we would be facing potentially until we get one that's worded correctly and is appropriate.
But just a couple of more things I'd like to say. I think we really need guidance on what is going to happen. Like if the old health services district is going to be reconstituted, or if there's going to be a new one that we defer to legal counsel. Go ahead.
I can answer these.
Okay, good.
So here's the issue.
So when we started looking at amending the service plan, which the court's order says that we should be doing anyway,
Right.
we started looking, or we went to this law firm, and she said, well, if you're gonna do that, you should look at a health service district, because to do community paramedic, we have to have a KISS license, and to have a KISS license, we have to be a health service district. So after talking to her, we can't reconstitute the current health service district because it is already laid out as a hospital type service, and that's not what we're gonna be doing. And we don't wanna get in the hospital business. And so she doesn't think that there would be an issue with us going after a separate health service district because we're going after a different end goal.
Like, yeah, okay.
So
That was kind of one of my questions with pre-hospital. Is it a different type of health service district? But I think at the end of the day, we're expected to not only like plead our case, but then request acceptance from the county commissioners,
Well,
technically according to our bylaws.
and that was the other issue. So if we just go for a service plan amendment, the county commissioners can come back and say no. If we go after a health service district, they in theory can't say no, with the exception of us already having a health service district, but they can't in theory deny it.
I think the
The existing district, then what would happen with that?
It would remain in place.
Just remain in place?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Is it
function.
operating in any
Right.
way, do we know?
it's tabled, I guess would be one terminology. But I would like to follow up on this and meet with Kim again and say, because again, I helped form this. I don't understand.
Wouldn't that be a
It's-
conflict of interest though?
Yeah.
I mean, we already have legal problems with this.
I'd say
to
let
have a
him finish.
conversation.
Yeah, let you finish if we could, please,
Yeah.
and then I think we should speak to that, but go ahead.
Again, because I formed it,
Right.
and was on the board, when I got back, I immediately copied a document and sent it out. And having been a part of it, I don't recall that there were restrictions. So I would like to, investigate and make sure that it's true. Because again, if I were county commissioner, they're gonna say, let's see, so you guys violated the service plan and you're trying to amend it by doing a health service district, but we already have a health service district. If I were county commissioner, I'd say full stop and let's get the facts. So right now I'm thinking, let's get the facts on whether that's accurate or not, of whether the current health service district is restricted in any way. Because I don't remember it being just a hospital. What we did at the time, it was a tool to do many things. And it is still a tool to do many things. And that's why they've kept it alive
So,
on a shelf.
if I could, please. So, I would like to say it is, I respectfully submit, it is a conflict of interest and not appropriate to involve the hospital in the conversation about what you all decide to do regarding the service plan and the new health services district.
I do agree with the legal counsel side of that, where I do think that it also opens us up to liability of what their potential decision-making process is.
And I would also like to say, part of your beginning comments, Tom, were about the mission statement of the service plan and focusing on that in the bigger picture. You guys, staff is here to do ministerial stuff, day-to-day operations, all those things. You guys approve the budget on a monthly basis. You approve, and you guys are the bigger picture, but you have to approve everything that is done. The reason that I say that is because regarding the new service plan that is going to be done, I think it's important for you as the board of directors to get that, to have that, to do that, and for us to push it forward in the community. And for you to decide, that's why I think you were elected and you're the decision makers, is you guys decide what you want that to be and what you want that to look like. Go ahead.
With community paramedicine, health service district leading to community paramedicine, I do kind of agree with him, because then community paramedicine gets you out involved in people's homes without it necessarily being an emergency a lot more often. which then gives them a lot more information about anything upcoming that the health service district can do, or anything that it should be brought to the public or can be brought to the public on voting for it. Is the community paramedicine really is a way to, it gives everybody, it gives a large group of people a much larger resource, even outside of medicine, with a lot of informational stuff too.
Absolutely.
So-
And it keeps up a rig free for those emergent calls for service.
Right, yeah.
'Cause right now, we're wasting the rig to go because somebody's got a small injury. That way we can send out somebody to handle this without, tying up a rig if we have, say, a true 911 call.
Right.
So it took us 2 years of meetings. I was there for all of them, filmed them, still have it. Again, I'm just asking that we verify these facts. Again, in talking to the county commissioners, I can't believe that they would just, that there's a law that says they have to do this. I find that, I've been there for different things throughout the years. They don't have to do anything. I can't believe that there's a health service district that you submit it to them and they don't have a choice. That I think is not factual. I want to check on that.
I think it would be totally worth, I think we should go through checking, especially the route of legal counsel, as necessarily opposed to going through Kim, which I don't think Kim would have any malicious intent of any kind. But I do think it would be good to find out what is already in place currently and if it can be amended or if it works for us or if
That was my whole
something
thing, is
beyond
just to track it down. I just wanted to track it down. I tried and found out that she still has it on the shelf.
But I would like to say that we had a conference call, a Zoom call
Yeah.
with legal counsel several meetings ago, and they did, it's not factually incorrect. They said that the county commissioners are going to have to approve the new service plan if done, correctly and legally. And I think, so we need to have this, done, not only because I think it's the consensus of at least kind of the old board, and I know we have the new board, but we need to be able to stave off the litigation. And I have to, do an appeal. I don't mean to, tell you that you have to do anything, but I think it's appropriate. I think it is the consensus of this board probably to go forward with the health services district. And I think it's much easier to have a new one, and that's what legal counsel is working on, rather than even worrying about the shelved, old, no longer viable, I don't know if viable is the right word, but no longer utilized old health services district, when we can tailor this to the wants and the needs and the desires of this board now.
And here's the thing: the people that were on the Zoom call, this is what they do. This is not the first district they've put together. They've done this many, many times.
That's what I was gonna say. So she went and they verified with the state, what I'm telling you, as far as the existing district. And the people that actually wrote the new SDA books partnered with the law firm that we're using, that we hired to do this.
Okay.
So
I totally think that the health service district is great. I think it's totally what we need to do. I don't really think that extending more services to the town is something that is necessarily under debate. I do think it's good just to have all the answers directly in front of us, because we are gonna have to go to the county commissioners at some point.
Well, we won't have to, which is cool, because they're going to do it for us.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have to do any of it. They'll handle it all for us.
No, at some point, somebody on the board or staff will have to be there.
Of course, I'm sure your deputy chief, your chief will be there, but and then
So-
the attorney, but they're going to handle it. That's what they said they're going to do.
So I'm not clear. I'm still thinking that we still need to have a conversation and get the facts of what.
Yeah,
You
what is
said-
it that makes the old
Let-
one not viable? That's really where it comes down to. I believe that they found that it doesn't work. I just don't have the numbers to make this up.
And I guess two things I would like written is, show me where it says that the county commissioners don't have the right to reject, that they have to accept. That has to be written somewhere as law then, right?
sure,
I will say, well, I think the board needs to have a meeting, an executive session with legal counsel.
It is kind of the impression I'm getting.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
That's
So-
what it feels like.
And it wasn't that it's not viable, it's just, when they found it at the state, it was basically written, like I said, to hospital specs to do hospital type procedures and
So
stuff.
they'd have to probably, if we were to use it, we'd have to like amend it.
Right, and so she said it just made more sense for us just to go after our own health service district
Gotcha.
to mold it the way we wanna mold it.
Well, yeah, then you have their board, and then we have our board, and then if we're not already working together now, what makes you think that's gonna work in the
Because
future? It's they're already button heads, so that's not even, to
So-
me, it's not even a viable.
I mean, I get where you're coming from with it. That's why I say it opens us up to some kind of liability. I do think we need to move forward on trying to like mend the issues between the two groups, because it sounds, everything I've gotten from is it really sounds like it's not anybody's axe to grind anymore. It sounds like
It
it's
is,
one hand.
you're right, it is correct. So their CEO left, and then.
I understand where we're at. It makes total sense. We still need a little bit of apprehension, but I also think it's like getting back to what it seems like this place, both organizations started with, which was just, we've got to just both be here together. We have to, and if we've got shit to squash, we've just got to figure out how to squash it.
I agree. And I think it's what's been happening in the last
Yeah.
months. Monahan has
Totally.
retired.
Yeah.
These guys have done a fabulous job in trying to mend those fences.
From a-
And I think they've done a decent job. Andreas, you would know.
But from a new guy coming in here, there's more questions than answers. I think we need to make sure all the questions are there, and we have all the answers.
Right.
So we don't go before the board and stumble and stutter.
That's kind of how I feel.
Because
Is
they're
at
gonna say,
some
well,
point, yeah.
So, again, the point that I'd like to make is that when we did this, it was community involvement for a long time. We got as many players to the table as we could. I don't want to do this alone as the ambulance district without talking to, the people up in the mountains that do fire and rescue and the hospital here and, the county that would be a player. I think a community meeting before you put everything together and say, here's what we have. We did this as a community, and that's why it passed, with a pretty good vote. So that's what I would encourage is I think Joe's right, we still need to do some factual gathering. I would think at this point that maybe you, Gabe, and Kim should sit down and show your cards. It's like, Kim, bring it to the table. Here's what we want to do.
I mean, you.
That's
you haven't sat here for-
we need to rise. We got the new board, and we need to rise above that.
You can
Okay.
do it on your own. I mean, that's just putting us behind. We need to move forward.
And if I could, please, I just want to say, it's not that, I don't think that's appropriate, and it's not that easily resolvable. The hospital still has a judgment hanging over our heads. And I agree, it is kind of a kumbaya sort of, it's wonderful, and it's a very nice sort of interaction that we now have with the hospital. But I really want to, if we're going to talk about this anymore, I want to do it in executive session. But I think you need to give us deference on the interrelationship between the ambulance district and the hospital. And we can advise you all, but it's not a matter of Gabe going in and saying, hey, let's make nice and let's kind of forget that this is all going on, because we kind of have tried that and it didn't work. We tried that in email communication shortly after the judgment entered and some other things happened, and the communication broke down right away because they were acting like we were under their thumb, which frankly they can do because really we are, because of this bad judgment. And this is only going to be rectified by having a new health services district. And that's all. And I just want to say one other thing, and that is, having been the city attorney for 11 years, I love the notion of involving community members, okay? That's great in a lot of different respects, but you guys are the ones who know what you want to do. With the advice of staff, you guys are the ones who know if you want to have, like, a van, or what you want to do for dialysis, or all those things that we talked about in that one work session where there were a number of services that can be provided. You guys are the ones who need to decide that, because you know finances, resource availability, resource allocation, what you're wanting to do, what services you're wanting to provide or not provide. And when you go to the community, when you ask the people out west, the ambulance districts or anybody else, they think that they have buy-in. And when they think that they have buy-in, you're going to be making a whole lot of demographics angry when you decide against them. So I think that it's democratic, I get it, but it's why you guys make the big bucks and why you were elected, is that you need to make that decision. It is the direction of the ambulance district in whatever new form you're going to have. So you guys need to make that decision, in my humble opinion.
I agree. We're elected by the people.
I believe in a healthy mixture of the two, and I think I do agree in this sense with Health Service District and community paramedicine. It is one that people don't understand enough about, and it gets a lot of pushback, when in reality they tend to be a person who would use it a lot. And it's something I agree with both sides. I do think that when we're attempting to create new programs, then we should absolutely be doing democratically sourced information of what the town thinks they want and what is an overwhelming thing. But at the end of the day, with something like what the district needs to do in a medical capacity and what community paramedicine has been since it started a decade ago, it really is an invaluable resource that people don't know that much about, and you can end up getting a lot of people wanting conditions and specifications and why aren't you putting in this new machine in the hospital instead, or it's but we're providing to you a resource that will be double the efficacy of a lot of different things we could right now. And so,
Not to interrupt. So in addition to the lawyers that do this and have been very successful at doing this, that's why we sought that firm. We've been talking with UpRad, which is in Woodland Park. They have been doing community paramedicine for over 10 years. We've talked to the gentleman.
The guy that did, I think that was the day.
Yeah, that's James. So in addition to that, we also need a community assessment. Kind of what you were talking about, where they go out and they reach all the partners, the hospital, the nursing home, the clinics, all that stuff. All that stuff will be done. So that's part of the process. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that as well.
Cool. That was actually, I didn't remember to ask it at any point, but that was a question I had after that meeting, was what exactly goes into the assessment and who performs it? How does it get performed? Is it something we're expected to provide the results of an assessment, or they are providing it to us for a fee?
I think there's multiple different ways to do that. I think the chief may talk about that, but that's something that's required to go forward with the Health Service District and the KISS license.
Right.
Is that community assessment. So.
Cool. I'm down to move forward if you want to move forward. We could should we schedule an executive session on the next meeting if we're able to get legal representation if they're available? I think that would probably be good. I think that's what all of our questions then end up summing up, is that it'd be nice to just have the actual legal jargon details basically.
Yeah, I get tested. The last time they were on Zoom, did an excellent job.
Yeah, totally. I think it was the same day.
No, it's actually before you guys got sworn in. It was a little bit before that, but they did an excellent job.
Okay.
They covered everything. I don't know, Andres can speak to that as well.
They did cover it.
They know their stuff.
Okay.
They're professionals in their business, and they're good at what they do.
No, is it the same group? The lady and she had her.
Yes.
Yeah.
To say her sidekick, but
We all gotta start somewhere.
you got to. But yeah, no, they were very professional.
Well, I think it's important to get our ducks in a row too, because if we're behind it, we're confident and believe in what we're saying, the public will understand that and will grasp that. It's when we don't, and we're stumbling and stuttering over things, when things will say, wait a minute, time out. As long as we have our act together, I think we can sell it. But it takes that knowledge, and again, I gotta catch up too, so I can talk to it publicly, confidently about it.
Are we looking at the
Last thing, just if you could follow up on them where the commissioners must approve. I would like to see whatever it is that they have that's written.
I was the same way. I was kind of incredulous, and I was asking them, they really have to do this, and they said repeatedly, yeah, they have.
As Mr. Lopez has told me before, he said we have more power than the governor. the commissioners. We didn't go any deeper than that, but I want to give all these facts. I'm really proud of the fact that we did this all those years ago. And what happens is we tried 3 times to get it funded, and we didn't get it funded.
I think you've got a good group of commissioners, my limited exposure to them so far. I don't think you have, they're gonna listen.
Okay.
As long as we can sell it, I think we won't have a problem.
And then you still have some points to cover.
Yes, special meetings. I got the bylaws the second day after we got appointed, and I'd sent emails, pointing out, number one, that we needed to fill a vacancy. As I was told that the president could do that, and somebody just needed to apply and the president could do that. Well, in all my experience, I didn't believe that to be true. So I got the bylaws, and one of the things that I thought we should do is I read through the blue book and the bylaws, is it said that we had 60 days. I asked for a special meeting. It got turned into a special election. It got sent up north to another law firm, and it came back to me that we weren't going to do that. The point of this is a board decision, and we may need to talk about this at the next meeting because, number one, Les is my friend and my attorney, but not real happy with him right now. So I'd like to clarify that. I don't want to go into depth like we just did, but I think we need to address whether that's a board issue or whether the staff has the ability. I was just inquiring.
That was the whole issue.
No, that's not the point. It was the inquiry that I made in the responses.
That we didn't have a position to fill.
Okay.
So, what do you want us to do with that? We didn't have anybody. There was nobody that wanted to fill that slot. So we were basically in limbo.
That's not my point.
So what
it was our communication. And so that's what I want to deal with. Okay? Last thing is order of business.
Can we go back to that? When you say something, I think there needs to be discussion.
That's what I'm bringing it up so that we can discuss it at the next meeting. It can be an agenda item.
Yeah. It's in discussion of the bylaws.
Okay.
It started off as a discussion of special meetings, but go ahead. So we had an opinion from the law firm that you refer to as the firm up north on whether or not we needed to have a special election.
I didn't ask that.
Okay.
Again, that was the misinterpretation.
Okay.
I said, could we possibly, it was a question, that's all it was. I was new to the board. I have them with me. I was like, how is it that these are being completely misconstrued? I just said, hey, could we consider a special meeting? And it got turned into a special election, which I never asked for. But the email at the end did say, well, by the way, at least Tom wants to try to do things right. So they gave me a compliment at the end.
No one would ever suggest otherwise. But wasn't the request for the special meeting on the need for a special election?
No.
Okay. Well, then what was the request for the special meeting?
We had 60 days to fill the position. After we got sworn in and I read the documents, I realized that now it was the vacancy began when the election was supposed to be held. So by the time we got sworn in and I read, we now had 30-some days.
Yeah, and we still had no applicants.
I asked questions, and the emails that I got back were, we're not going to do that. And it's like, I didn't ask that. It's the communication that's the problem, and it should have been a board level decision, not a staff and attorney decision.
For what question though? I mean, I understand you asked for a special meeting, and you wanted a special meeting, and you're upset because you didn't get a special meeting.
I'm not upset. I'm just pointing out that the communication was totally misconstrued from what I'd asked.
Okay, so
and all right, so here's the other thing. My communication is that when I send the communication, even in this last one, it's being funneled back through you. Why when I communicate with staff, is it coming back through you?
Because I think they felt, staff did, that it was a legal question. And I guess I'm really not understanding if there's a request for a special meeting, and I understand your citation to the, this rule in the bylaws, section 6E, we may inquire as to why there's a request for a special meeting. Other board members may, and I think that is what was being done. As I sit here, my understanding was it was a request for filling the vacancy. If not for a special election, it was for filling the vacancy, which we thought was an issue that was resolved. And you mentioned the communication. There was wide open communication. We responded, I think, quickly, and I didn't feel like there was a problem in the communication. I'm sorry if I caused you, a level of upset. I was trying to answer the questions, did so, I think, quickly and respectfully. And as I sit here, I'm still not sure what the request was for a special meeting.
I'll be more than happy to forward the emails to everybody, just don't respond.
You can tell us.
I have them all right here, it would take a while.
Okay, so what, and I feel like we're kind of
We're running around in circles right now.
Well, yeah, we are, and we're doing a lot of rehashing of kind of old stuff. But I get it. If you want a special meeting, you can ask for a special meeting. But I think always there will be a level of inquiry as to why we're having a special meeting. Other board members will want to know. Staff will want to know.
The email was clear, that I was just saying, hey, in order to fill the vacancy, could we have a special meeting to discuss it?
Okay.
Again, it's being misconstrued. That's not what I asked.
Okay, then what were you asking for?
I was asking to have a meeting to discuss the filling of the vacancy, because at first I was told that the vacancy could be filled by somebody applying and the president appointing. With all my vast experience in boards, I don't know anywhere where that was possible. So I responded quickly and I said, by the way, filling a vacancy according to the blue book, from the special districts and by our own bylaws, is a board function. No president could possibly do that. If you go back and you read the emails, and I'll send them out again.
No, I have them.
Okay.
I have them. Yep.
Then I was very clear when I said, hey, could we just talk and get together? We're new together and discuss how we want to fill this vacancy. So that was it. But the emails that I got back were problematic. And at some point, you and I need to talk about that.
So I would like to ask if he had sent an email that was requesting a special meeting, and then it would ultimately be up to the board to be able to be like, why are we doing that? Or do we really need to? How come, I was never notified about a request for a special meeting and whether or not we should have one. What would be the future behavior? How would we handle that appropriately?
So here's the easy answer to that. When you guys got sworn in, the meeting before you guys got sworn in, we had no other person here. Nobody wanted to do this. There was nobody. I asked several people that say, hey, you interested in doing this? Gabe asked people that are interested in doing this. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody. We tried for, you guys put your applications in, and nobody wanted to do it.
And if I could please, Sue, perhaps I misconstrued something. Excuse me, but I was under the impression that there was a request for a special election, and that was what you were asking for.
No.
Okay, so that was what I was under the impression. So we were responding to that and saying we had the opinion letter from the firm, and I thought that the question was being answered. Maybe there was miscommunication, but my point was that there was not a need for a special election. If that was not your point and I was misconstruing something, I apologize for that. And I won't look to other staff. I don't know what their impression was, but that was my impression. I was trying to, press the case that we did not need a special election. You're right, there was conversation that it could be done by the board president. It was done the correct way, eventually, in that it was a board decision in filling the vacancy. Because there didn't need to be a special election because of the close proximity to the election we had where we didn't have, as many people running as we have vacancies. But
Well, to me, it looks like this is kind of water under the bridge. I think we've realized the problem, we've addressed the problem, and I think if it comes up again, we know how to proceed with the problem. Because if I asked for a special election, I would surely tell you why I'm requesting a special election. I just want to ask you for.
And the thing is,
for a special meeting.
right,
Special meeting.
And-
I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Right.
I started all over again, sorry.
And the way it ended up is people that, in my circle that I work with, I was just trying to find somebody to fill the vacancy. And then obviously you guys were doing the same, because when you showed up, which was fine, and then, we voted on who, was the best candidate, and obviously, you took the seat, which is great, but we didn't have anybody, and that's the problem, and that's where I think you have an issue, because we didn't elect officers. Well, we don't have a full board. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I think we'll be.
Now we're good. Now
I think
we're
we'll be, from here out, we'll be fine.
I agree.
I don't think it makes any sense.
I think it sounds like it's based on miscommunications that I'm happy to have figured out. Because it's new board, new stuff, gotta get it figured out. That's
Right. And we were like in a holding pattern because we didn't have anybody. We were just stuck. We couldn't move forward, we couldn't go backwards, we were just stuck.
I keep looking at you, is it? Last couple items. Order of business. It is in the bylaws about the order of business. And it doesn't say that you have to do this. It says, under D, section 7D, no, 6,
You're right.
7D. I attend a lot of different board meetings, and what's not on our agenda here is like old business, new business, and I brought this up at the last meeting. Approval of agenda, like I'd asked Nick at the beginning of the meeting, when the mayor opens up, he asks for approval agenda. It's like, if I'd like to move something to the back, I'd like to put that on there. Old business, new business. Things that the board needs to talk about, in an open meeting. That again, I think the board is up here at the 30,000 foot level looking down. As long as you guys are doing your job, then we don't need to get involved. But the direction, like the health service district and things like that, those are the conversations that I want to have as a board, about our goals and our ends and what we're going to do and what we're going to accomplish. So if we could, add those items so that, and maybe there's nothing there for a while, but in time, as we adjust and we talk about these things, then we're good. So it's that the approval of the agenda on there and what is listed in here.
We could make a motion to add approval of the agenda to directly after Pledge of Allegiance. Call to order.
And I'm gonna put this out there, I've been sitting on this board for quite some time, and the 12 things we have on this agenda have been working great. We haven't had any issues.
Right.
I mean, we're just adding to the agenda, I don't know why.
I think it's a good fail-safe. It's a redundancy that I think is good just in case someone had something that they needed to be on the agenda and it's not there. But as you see, pretty much every city council meeting I've ever had,
and I said,
ask for approval and then they gain approval and they do the vote and it moves on immediately. So it's like.
And also, there are a lot of reasons why that makes sense. And you could have somebody here to address, the board, and it appears on the agenda later on, and you want to get them out of here. So
that's right. That's why I'm asking these things.
Right.
It's just like the first meeting where I caught, it still says that Dan Moynihan does the budget.
Right.
Just housekeeping things.
So, something I found out about your latter point, which I'd have to do more research to find out if it's fully true or not. I have been told that you can sum up having old business, which it seems like we kind of do this method, if you request to add it to the agenda for the next meeting, which then makes it kind of like a new business, old business sort of deal, if it's an actual agenda item, which kind of rolls them together. But
miscellaneous does a great job in its
right. Yeah, I think
it really does. I
think it kind of does both, as long as we have something that, like if we were handling it, if we were talking about an issue today, ran out of time, decided to, instead of tabling, we could then put it as an agenda item on the next meeting.
Okay. Two more things.
But do you want to have a motion
let's do
for
that.
having approval of the agenda as item number, probably item number 3,
Yeah.
right?
I'll
Sure.
do it. I'll make a motion that we add approval of agenda to our monthly agenda calendar. Item 3. The numbers may fluctuate though, so.
Sure,
Well, but if you do your call to order, your roll call.
right.
And then
Agenda-
right,
approval
that'll
of
always
agenda.
be number 3,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Need a second? I don't think I can second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe's second.
Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Two last things. Even, and Les knows this at the city, one of the things that I would really like to aspire to is to follow as closely as we can to Robert's Rules of Order. I mean, it's somewhat loose here. The city struggles with it. Every organization struggles with it, but it actually makes meetings more efficient and less time consuming. And it's a board meeting, so I think it would help us facilitate, as you go through this. So that doesn't require, I don't think, a motion. It's just a wish that we aspire as much as we can. I mean, I bring my notes so that I can remember how to do this and what the different options are that you have. And lastly, my pushing for going through the bylaws, and I don't know that Les even remembers this, but it was the basis of a lawsuit that I was involved in. And the reason that we did so well is because the people were in violation of their bylaws. And so taking time to read through these and making sure that we got every T crossed and every I dotted is one of the things that, from my experience, I felt that I needed to do. And that's why I'm bringing it up. If it hurt some people's feelings, I'm sorry, but I'm bringing my experience to the table to try to keep us out of any litigation. Because someone sat down and said, wow, they don't follow that, then they're in violation. That's what gave us standing in order to proceed in the lawsuit. So that's it.
So do you want to say that you agree, either formally or informally, that Robert's Rules of Order should apply for purposes of parliamentary procedure?
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't take a vote.
No, I mean, I think as long as all of you
We
agree
just need to
that
push
that's.
in that direction.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And even the city, you guys are still learning and trying.
Oh, right.
And now when there's a turnover, it'll be
Yeah.
back to square one.
That's right. That's right. Nobody knowing.
No.
I shouldn't say nobody.
Thank you.
So we're good to move on to director's report.
Director's report. There's no medical direction updates. Billing company. So EMSMC, which is our new billing company, has collected roughly about $8,000 to $10,000 on the old AR from the old billing company. And we're waiting to schedule a meeting with the old billing company. They're gonna make us an offer on the untimely stuff that they couldn't collect,
So
so.
that was the stuff you were saying was technically their liability. right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, we're just waiting, Les was involved with that, so we're just waiting to schedule a meeting with their attorney, see what their offer is, see if it's worth anything, and then we'll go back and forth, so.
So could I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Considering, I've been here and filming for years, and it seems like we've gone through a few companies to do this. Is there any option of bringing this in-house?
So it was actually in-house for a while, and there was a bunch of issues.
It's a common issue. If
Yeah.
billing has to deal with whatever the whim of Medicare or Medicaid's billing says that day. And it's based on a very strict set of rules, but sometimes you have more strict people, sometimes you have less strict people. And it comes down to finding a good billing company is difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just think
In my
liability
experience,
isn't worth it, because then you run into anti-kickback statutes and stuff. I think that's kind of scary.
Okay.
So, no change with USDA loan stuff. We're just waiting on contracts to be reviewed and approved, and then we'll get our interim loan and we'll move forward with that.
Do we have a list of subcontractors?
The contractor does.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that something we could obtain, or how would I go about getting
Do we have a list somewhere?
I don't, I mean, I, in general, no, but I could ask Doug.
Yeah, we can see if we can get a list.
That'd be sweet.
They're all locals.
Right,
I
yeah,
believe, So
Either here or Pueblo.
cool. Yeah, just to know.
we can ask and see.
That'd be awesome.
So our remount, so we've got a chassis on the ground, ready to be remounted, but there's no updates there. And then just some small updates. On June 28th, our last meeting, we went up to stand by for the wildland fire. That was uneventful, thankfully. June 28th through 30th, we completed the Pulsar training for the new app. The hospital's getting on board. They just recently went through training, so we should go live soon, hopefully. July 4th, the staff participated in the July 4th parade. July 5th, we had a Zoom meeting with UPRAD to go over the community needs assessment. So what we found out was we have to have this community needs assessment to apply for the KISS license. So we were told that we can do it ourselves, but we don't know what we're doing and it takes a lot of work. And so UPRAD was willing to come down and do it on our behalf. Plus, I think if we had them come do it for us, it would be more of a neutral thing. So we would be with them every step of the way. But like Deputy Chief was saying, he would come in and he would engage all the partners, the hospital, the police department, communities, health department, detox, any mental health providers. And then he would put all that together for us in a nice little package, and then we can present that with our license application to the state. So right now, he's looking at charging us, I think it was $220 an hour, and he's guesstimating it'd be about 40 hours. So we're right about $8,800. And I personally think that would be money well spent.
Yeah, I do too. That's a complicated system.
So I don't know if we're able to make a motion and vote to approve that. I'm trying to get that number down. They said they might work with us with the numbers, but if we can get approval to spend that with the caveat that it may hopefully be less.
What was it again? You said 220 an
It
hour?
was $220 an
220,
hour.
which would be $8,800.
I think as long as we put a not to exceed number.
Yeah.
Right.
I would, I would try to tie their hands and pick them.
Is that within your spending discretion? or
No.
like- Okay,
No, it's over by
5,000.
3,000, yeah.
oh, okay.
5,000 is my spending.
So I think, so $220 an hour. How many hours?
40 hours.
Okay. So would you like a motion?
I would.
Okay,
I
good.
would to spend no more than the 8,800.
I think we'll look it up.
I'm sorry, was that you?
Yep.
Second?
No second.
Yeah, I have to find my cheat sheet. Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
What are they called again? What is the organization?
It's actually, it's
UPass Regional
health services.
Health Service District.
Thank you, Bubba.
I can remember it earlier when I was trying to say it. So.
Okay, July 6th, we had our operational rapid assistance package meeting. So that was basically an assessment grant to see what communications are lacking here. And so the end goal of this is to have a tabletop exercise now in August. So we met to go over goals and objectives and to update dispatch policies. July 12th, we had the Titan Fire after action review. July 13th, met with Dan and Les to go over the quick med stuff. And yesterday, got confirmation that we were fully awarded our grant for this year for 2 Lucas devices and 3 portable bins.
Awesome.
So as soon as they release the statement of work, we'll get those ordered and get training scheduled.
What was up with, was it last month or in the past month, that there was supposed to be something with a P, the one that both the hospital, Pulsera, was training already supposed to happen on that?
So we've already done our training. The hospital did their training at the beginning of this week. I don't know how much more training they have to go through. So I'm guessing we'll be live by August 1. Sweet.
Or sooner, if possible.
That's all I have.
Questions?
Yep.
So on the building, is there a time frame, schedule that you have, or
Not
target?
yet.
We've only passed it 3 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So we approved for the contractors last time, so they haven't started?
No, so what has to happen is they're finalizing some contract stuff that the USDA has to review and approve. And then once they approve it, then that contract can go to the bank for the interim loan. And then once we have that interim loan secured, then we can start.
Okay.
And then, it's in the planning review stage. And so the reviewers have had some things they wanted to see changed and done. So they've been working with the architect and the contractor to get those things settled.
Is there a demolition part of the project?
No, about the only thing will be the inside and then that back wall when we do,
Yeah, so
The
what
extension.
it was getting started on that one, so that's what it says.
Or just
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's some demo to it, but I think the Chief's right. I think we have to have everything in place and stuff before we start doing that anyway.
One of the reasons I want to join the board is for that expertise as this moves along. It's certainly giving him the plans. I don't want to put more on your plate, but I do. As a taxpayer, we've been burned too many times.
Yeah.
And that's why, whatever he can put his fingers on and assist you guys with, again, as a taxpayer, I don't want to go through and name all the places, but as taxpayers, we've suffered, still suffering from.
Is Shums Code do the review on the plans? Okay, I know Steve Thomas personally, so
Okay, that,
I can pick
I
up
think
the phone calls.
Zach Thatcher and Zach Thatcher. I know. Zach Thatcher and somebody else. I have their names and emails.
thank you.
Cool, so that's it for discussion. Want to move forward to number 9, operations and fleet report.
All right, operations report. This is for the month of June. On July 19th, we had 172 calls for service. Medic 3 ran 4 calls with 4 transports. EMS 1 and 2 just had the call up for the Titan fire. So we had 14 inter-facility transfers. 10 of those, which you would take that 10 and by 2 because it was were CT transfers when the CT was down. So they have agreements, the hospital has agreements with Walsenburg and Raton being closer. So when they get a patient, first of all, we try not to bring people to the hospital when they're on that the best we can. And then we take them down to Raton. If they need a CT, we wait, bring them back. So during that last month, there was 10 CT transfers. IFTs were down. We did have one return to home from the ER. We had 2,992 miles for the IFTs, and year to date it's 31,757. And Zach, just so I'll keep up on, and this was your request last time, we didn't have any reason and did not have any, I don't want to say refused transfers, but we didn't have any transfers, so we didn't do it.
And any requested that were
Yeah.
completed.
We did not.
Okay.
We did have one of our BLS crews, so we have a BLS truck on every 3rd day right now. And that BLS crew, due to the severity of the patient, did have to divert because of the patient condition had deteriorated. So on the way to Colorado Springs, that crew diverted to Walsenburg. We did do that in the monthly case review with Dr. DeWall. Dr. DeWall commended not only the crew on the treatment that they gave the patient initially, what they could within their scope, but also on their decision to divert. Update, Liz Romero is finishing up her internship. She's got 8 12-hour shifts left. Amanda Ashkoff and Tyler Neurotter are basically completed. Actually, today will be completion for Amanda, and tomorrow is the completion for Tyler out of the FTO program, so they'll be able to start taking shifts. We did get some news that paramedic Cordova is leaving us and going to Fountain Fire to be a fire medic. So we wish her well in that endeavor. Her last day is going to be the 31st of this month. So we have sent out a message for all our part-time staff for letters of interest to be put back in by Tuesday next week, and then we can look at filling that position. So. Also, we talked to the board, so we had, I started my, the community paramedic course, and we're getting those paramedics now. This course that we can start anytime. So we'll be getting those lined up as well as we go. Obviously, we won't have Nikki doing that, but we are moving forward with that. And as of right now, we have 4 of the 5 rigs in service and still waiting on the 5th rig in Raton for the engine to be completed. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Discussion. And we can go ahead and move on to miscellaneous. Got anything in our miscellaneous group?
Is it always me? I signed up for training. It's free. Well, it's free, and there's a convention in Keystone in September, but it's also virtual. If you want to go, it's $300 and some odd, but online it's $175. If I would suggest that people go watch it, sign up for it. It's free. You can watch some of their older stuff. I aspire to, as I'm, part of all these board meetings, that we do it as efficiently and smartly as possible. If the board would like to pay for it, that'd be great. If not, I've got 2 checks here for $200. For 100 each. I'll be happy to use that if we could put it on. If other board members are interested. It's about trying to just do this smarter and efficiently. I don't want to be here for 3 hours either. I want, efficient and accurate meetings. And that's what I aspire to. If nobody else does, that's fine. This is one of the things, that I enjoy. Nobody else could sit through the last 20 years of being able to the meetings I do if I didn't enjoy it. I think government, local government is, the foundation of this country. And I participate in it, as does Mr. Downs. And so that's, if you guys are interested, go look it up. But I'm going to sign up and I'll pay for it on my own or through the board for $175. Watch it virtually. September 12th through the 14th, I think it is. So that's it.
I mean, do you want to, I suppose that'd be a good spot if you want to make a motion for approval of the board, like if a board member wants to take the course.
I would say put it on the agenda for next time and let people look at it and see if they want to do it.
Okay.
I mean, because we have another meeting in August and it's September then right after that.
Yeah.
So
do you want to make a motion for that, put it on the agenda to?
You don't have to
No.
make a motion.
and that's why we want a parliamentarian.
Yeah, and then when the August meeting comes, if you decide you want to do a motion to expend the money from the district to do that.
Cool. Sounds good. Anything else? Anybody else?
I do have something. So I've been working on trying to get all of your bank accounts back with everybody on them. I did not get this until today, the packet that you guys have been filling out. There's actually a resolution that they have a format for, and so I didn't get it to be able to provide it to you before now. So if I read it into place, then we can make a motion and do what we need to do with that so that we can get it all signed today and take care of that. Okay with everybody?
For me,
Okay, resolution.
Where's the sergeant at arms?
Between First National Bank of Trinidad by Trinidad Ambulance District. I, and will insert the name of your secretary, certify that I am secretary clerk of the above named association organized under the laws of the state of Colorado, federal employer ID number 841117140, and that the resolutions on this document are a correct copy of the resolutions adopted at a meeting of the association duly and properly called and held on July 19th, 2023. These resolutions appear in the minutes of this meeting and have not been rescinded or modified. Agents. Any agents listed below, subject to any written limitations, is authorized to exercise the powers granted as indicated below. Listed are Gabriel Moreno, Executive Director, Nicholas Materano, Director, Andres de Leon Jr., Director, Thomas J. Murphy, Director, Zachary Shapiro, Director, Joseph P. Richards, Director, Barbara Fisk, Administrative Assistant for iBank Services only. Powers granted. Attach one or more agents to the following powers by placing the letter next to their thing. So, for exercise all powers listed in this resolution, it is all of you excluding me. Open any deposit or share accounts in the name of the association. All of you excluding me, and there are 2 signatures required. Endorse checks and order for the payment of money or otherwise withdraw or transfer funds on deposit with this financial institution. Once again, it's all of you with 2 signatures. Borrow money on behalf and in the name of the association, sign, execute, and deliver promissory notes or other evidences of indebtedness is all of you. Endorse, assign, transfer, mortgage or pledge bills, receivable warehouse receipts, bills of lading, stocks, bonds, real estate, or other property now owned or hereafter owned or acquired by the association as security for sums borrowed, and to discount the same unconditionally guarantee payment of all bills received, negotiated, or discounted, and to waive demand, presentment of protest, notice of protest, and notice of non-payment. Once again, it's all of you. Enter into a written lease for the purpose of renting, maintaining, accessing, and terminating a safe deposit box in this financial institution is all of you, excluding me. And then one is, number 7 is other, and it is limited signer, iBank only, and that is for me, and it's 1 signature only. But it's not a signature, it's just a signature to access the online banking so that I can transfer the funds for payroll and that stuff that you will then sign for the transfers. So that's for me to access and get statements and stuff. Limitation on powers. The following are the association's express limitation on the powers granted under this resolution. The association named on this resolution resolves that 1. The financial institution is designated as a depository for the funds of the association and to provide other financial accommodations indicated in these resolutions. 2. This resolution shall continue to have effect until express written notice of its rescission or modification has been received and recorded by the financial institution. Any and all prior resolutions adopted by the association and certified to the financial institutions as governing the operations of this association's accounts are in full force and effect until the financial institution received and acknowledges and express written notice of its revocation, modification, or replacement. Any revocation, modification, or replacement of a resolution must be accompanied by documentation satisfactory to the financial institution, establishing the authority of the changes. 3. The signature of an agent on this resolution is conclusive evidence of their authority to act on behalf of the association. Any agent, so long as they act in the representative capacity as an agent of the association, is authorized to make any and all contracts, agreements, stipulations, and orders which they may deem advisable for the effective exercise of the powers indicated on page 1 from time to time with the financial institution, subject to any restrictions on this resolution or otherwise agreed to in writing. 4. All transactions, if any, with respect to any deposits, withdrawals, rediscounts, and borrowings by or on behalf of the association with the financial institution prior to the adoption of this resolution are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. 5. The association agrees to the terms and conditions of any account agreement, property opened by an agent of the association. The association authorizes the financial institution at any time to change the association for all checks, drafts, or other orders for the payment of money that are withdrawn on the financial institution, so long as they contain the required number of signatures for this purpose. 6. The association acknowledges and agrees that the financial institution may furnish at its discretion automated access devices to agents of the association to facilitate those powers authorized by this resolution or other resolutions in effect at the time of the issuance. The term automated access devices includes, but are not limited to, credit cards, automated teller machines, and debit cards. 7. The association acknowledges and agrees that the financial institution may rely on alternative signature and verification codes issued to or obtained by the agent named on this resolution. The term alternative signature and verification codes includes, but is not limited to, facsimile signatures on file with the financial institution, personal identification numbers, and digital signatures. If a facsimile signatures specimen has been provided on this resolution, or that are filed separately by the association with the financial institution from time to time, the financial institution is authorized to treat the facsimile signature as the signature of the agent or agents, regardless of by whom or by what means the facsimile signature may have been affixed, so long as it resembles the facsimile signature specimen on file. The association authorizes each agent to have custody of the association's private key used to create a digital signature and to request issuance of a certificate listing the corresponding public key. The financial institution shall have no responsibility or liability for unauthorized use of alternative signature and verification codes unless otherwise agreed in writing. Effective on previous resolutions. This resolution supersedes resolution dated May 27, 2022. If not completed, all resolutions remain in effect. Certification of authority. I further certify that the association has, and at the time of adoption of this resolution had, full power and lawful authority to adopt the resolution stated above to confer the powers granted above the person's name who have full power and lawful authority to exercise the same. And then that's the end of it. So,
Could you read that again?
Yeah.
where's the recorder? Anyway, this is the standard form that the bank issues every time we have to make changes, and it does
What's the title of it?
resolution,
Just resolution.
Trinidad Ambulance District, that's all they've entitled it. So it does require everyone's signatures and also on the account agreements. But we need to make a motion to adopt the resolution for the bank change.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the resolution for the banking change according to the document you recorded.
Second.
Who are you, Nick? We have a motion and a second. Nick?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
So don't leave without signing these things for me tonight, so we don't have to wait. Now typically we all submit these with those other documents in the driver's licenses. And typically, we will get back a stack of papers about this thick for next meeting, that everyone will have to initial every page of everything, so be prepared for that too. That's all I have. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I agree.
Do we have any other miscellaneous? We can go ahead and cover next regular meeting date. It's gonna be, what, August?
I have the 23rd.
That's what I have.
We always double check me.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Well, yeah, please.
Yep, 23rd, 4:30 as usual. We don't need a motion on that, right? That's just
No,
covering-
we just
yeah.
need a motion to
Cool,
adjourn.
then we'll do a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I would happily second it. I don't know.
Have to go.
I believe you are. You're allowed to
Yeah,
vote.
let's
so-
find out. I'll second it.
Okay. I think it works.
Well,
yeah, yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Andres,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
And we are adjourned at